Listen up. Listen up. Hear ye, hear ye. I don't know why I just said that. Listen, man. The Sixers. Okay, we're going to talk about RJ. I like that you're pumping the brakes, RJ. I like that you keep me honest. I like it. Listen, we're going to talk about it, man. The Philadelphia 76ers have won yet again. And we need to start having the discussion. Man. Shout out to A, man. Thank you for being a member of Sicko Nation for 33 months, almost 3 years, man. Thank you for that, my man. A, and shout out to James Faulkner for becoming a member of Sicko Nation right now. Listen, we're going to get into everything, man. The Sixers won again, and we're going to talk about all of it. We are live on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to catch us live on YouTube when you have a chance. Go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. We are approaching 27,000 subscribers. Thank you all for being here. If you are starting to believe in the Philadelphia 76ers and you, much like I, have never said anything negative about them and have believed in them since the beginning, go ahead and hit the like button. Obviously, give me 1,000 likes, all right? That's clearly a joke because I'm getting all of the, predictable tweet replies and Instagram comments of the all, weren't you just trashing them last week? Just 2 weeks ago, you were out on this team. Oh, when they were 3-14 and Joel Embiid was a mythical creature? Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to be positive, right? The team goes up and down. My reactions go up and down. For some reason, there's those people that are like, that's not what you said last year. Oh, yeah, 5 years ago, you said this. I'll never get it. But thanks for being here, man. We're going to talk about it all. But first, I want to let you guys know these Maxey McCain 25 t-shirts will not be available pretty soon. They are going away. Maxey McCain 25, Make the Sixers Great Again. Those t-shirts are going away. The original Sickos logo right here is also going away. We got a new logo coming out and a new t-shirt design coming out. So get all of these right now on runitbackphillyshop.com. Promo code SICKOS20 for 20% off. And the website was down for a couple days. Thank you guys for reminding me to renew my custom domain. I'm getting better at running a business. By the time I'm 70 years old, I will have it down pat. Listen, man, let's get down to business. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Portland Trailblazers 125-103. And yeah, it's the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, they're not good. Yeah, they were even playing without Jeremy Grant. But again, man, when we started this season without Joel Embiid, without Paul George because he hyperextended his knee in the damn preseason, and then hyperextended his knee again, it just felt so bleak, and we were getting ran off the floor by every team in the NBA when we started this season. The Toronto Raptors, who are not trying to win games, we were getting ran off the floor by teams who are not trying to win games, right? And even just a couple of games ago, playing without Joel, I think on a back-to-back when we go down to the wire with the Charlotte Hornets without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller and some other players, it was like, what? It just looked terrible. And some of the games where we had Joel Embiid and Paul George on the floor, we were still blowing third quarter leads and going down to the wire with teams we talent wise or on paper had no business going down to the wire with. Last night was the first time this season. Here's why I'm so excited about this win. Last night was the first time this season. You tell me if I'm wrong here. The first time this season the 76ers had a significant lead in the third quarter and did not blow the lead and give me any type of stress. Blazers made a little bit of a run there where they cut it to 10, I believe, because this dude, Tumor, that's what the guy feels like when I'm watching the game, a tumor that won't go away. He was flopping all over the place, and I mean, that's probably in a long time. But anyway, there was some dumb things that were happening that were just, basketball type of things, and they cut it to 10, but we took a timeout at the right time. Nick Nurse took a timeout at the right time, and we put our foot back on the gas, and we put the Trailblazers away. This was the most comfortable win of the season so far, and to the point where Nick Nurse was able to put in the G League team in the last couple of minutes. And you would expect a team that has Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey to do to a team like the Trailblazers, 125-103. So the fact that they held the lead, built on the lead, and put this team away and didn't have any type of anxiety scares in the fourth quarter or anything is a big-time step in the right direction. I know beating the Boston Celtics on Christmas was a big step in the right direction, especially because the Celtics shot 49 threes and made 40% of them. So that wasn't a fluke game either. And now you're starting to dominate bad teams. The 76ers are really starting to look like what a contender looks like. And that's why I feel so good about this right now. Fix your mic. What's going on with the mic? We got a mic malfunction. Everybody else in the chat having a mic malfunction. I got excellent connection over here. If anybody's having an issue, refresh your browser or close your YouTube app and reopen it. No sound at all? Yeah, see, we got other people saying your mic is good. YouTube's been doing this to me lately. I got people saying it's no good. I got people saying it's good. I got people saying I can't hear you. I got people saying your mic is messed up. I got people saying your mic is off. Refresh your browser or close your YouTube app and reopen it. And I think that should fix it. For some reason, that's been happening to me lately, man. And I'm over here. I got Verizon Internet. I got a really good connection. It says excellent connection on my side. So I don't know what's up with that. But if you're having trouble hearing, refresh your page. And YouTube's been buffering all morning. Beast in 88 says, yeah, refresh your page or close your app and reopen. All right. That's why I feel so good about this win, man, because they're starting to show me that they possibly can make a run. If healthy, of course. And if they make a move before the trade deadline, I will start to feel confident about this team. And that's crazy because I was so down on this team at the beginning of this season. It just felt like Joel Embiid wasn't going to get on the floor. When he got on the floor for a couple games, he was just terrible. That first 3-4 games that he played, and then he sat out another 8 with knee swelling. It was just so bad. It felt like we were stuck in the dark, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe I was overreacting, but I will say this. The people that were having patience, there was certain people telling me, have patience. Once they get healthy, they're going to be good. That sounded so unrealistic at the time. And so credit to anybody that was actually sitting back watching those games and saying, hey, listen, when we get healthy, everything's going to be fine. Take a deep breath. I don't believe anybody that was saying that was actually watching those games. And that's fine, too. When Joel and Paul George were out, if you guys were saying, listen, I'm going to watch the Eagles, I'm not going to watch this. No, I understand that. Those of us that were watching those games, it was really hard to believe that they were going to turn it around. But I will say that I probably was underestimating the impact that Joel Embiid and Paul George being healthy would have on this team. Then you have Caleb Martin coming back around, and I don't know if I was underestimating the impact. It just felt like they weren't going to get on the floor and start to play consecutive games together. Now we got consecutive games together with all three players, and everything just looks totally different. And as predicted, Kelly Oubre gets to go back to being a role player. Caleb Martin gets to play the role that he's used to playing. We had role players trying to create shots and score, and it was just all bad, and it made the supporting cast look a lot worse than they really were. So I'm excited for the direction that this team is in because I thought this season was so over from the start, and it might not be over. It might not be over. What Joel Embiid did last night. Wait, let me see the chat. Where are you guys at on this? Where are you guys at? Are you as excited about what this team looks like right now as I am? I know RJ said not yet. We got to see the rest of this West Coast road trip before we make that decision. RJ said they can make a run, but I got to not buy in so they can win. I think it's me. I think I'm the I said that at the beginning of the season. I said that I am the curse. But RJ, if you need to continue to be negative for the Sixers to be good, then keep it up. Jonathan Himes, member of the channel. I like how the defense is playing. I know the offense will come around. Yeah, great point, man. And their defense has been great the last couple of games, and as much as I trash Paul George on the offensive end, and again last night he looked like he can't jump when he goes to the rim, although he had another wide open dunk on a fast break that I liked a lot. He kind of looked behind him for the defense, but I feel like the beginning of the season he wasn't trusting himself as much, where he would try to kind of lean in and try to get contact, and he finished strong. But the defensive side of the ball, the combination of Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Caleb Martin has been just night and day difference from the beginning of the season, and I'm going to credit Paul George, honestly, for a lot of that. Kind of that, the guy that's gluing together the perimeter defense, that really is Paul George. Again, is that worth $50 million a year? I don't know. I'm starting to just get on more of a positive side of it, or more of it is what it is side of it with that. When we signed him, it's not like we signed him to be a leader or a number one option. I didn't know he would be this bad offensively, but the way he's anchoring the perimeter defense, I got to just say, hey, it's looking good. I don't know if the third or fourth year of this contract is going to be a disaster or not, but I can't just look forward to negativity the whole season. I got to just say it is what it is and move forward. But I agree with you, Jonathan. Their defense, mainly their perimeter defense, has been so much better than they were the beginning of this season. Joel Embiid last night turned back into, what we all are used to seeing the past couple of years from Joel Embiid, or maybe what we're used to seeing for most of his career. Now, he doesn't have the athleticism that he used to have, and he sadly never will. There was a play that somebody posted on Twitter of him driving down the lane and dunking the ball where he kind of, hardly comes off the floor. And then they posted a clip from 2016 where he almost jumped from the foul line and slammed it. Yeah, you're not getting that athletic version of Joel Embiid anymore. But honestly, that might be a good thing. Because Joel Embiid throughout his career has injured himself postering people, trying to dunk on entire rosters. I mean, the one time he tore his ACL or MCL against the Washington Wizards, trying to baseline dunk on the whole team, you know what I mean? And he would have these chase down block attempts where he would injure himself. So maybe Joel is a blessing in disguise, because Joel Embiid jumping is how he's injured himself probably 75% of his injuries. And the other ones are elbows to the face and random things like that. But yeah, Joel Embiid doesn't have the athleticism anymore that he used to have. So you're not going to get the windmill dunks and things that are fun to watch, but he still has size and skill that's so rare that he's absolutely impossible to stop when he's ramped up, and it seems like he's ramped up. You know what I mean? Hey, look, it's every year now. It's taking longer and longer for Joel Embiid to get ramped up. Right by 2029, the last year of his contract, it might be taking him an entire season to get ramped up. It took him 2.5 months this season. It is what it is. But when he's playing like he played last night, he's totally unstoppable. And what I love that Joel Embiid did last night that I haven't seen yet from him this season is he looked at the Blazers roster and he said, none of these guys can guard me. Most of the games that he's come back this season so far, he's been settling for threes. He's been settling for fadeaway jump shots. He's been settling for turnaround one-footed, not being very physical. Last night, he finally said, I'm going to dominate the game from inside out. Denny Avdia can't guard me. Robert Williams, we know from back in his Celtics days, he can't guard me. Donovan Clingan, I mean, come on, bro. Get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? So Joel Embiid started to dominate the paint last night like we were so used to him doing for many years, and that is a great sign. Because with Tyrese Maxey surging the way that he is and the rest of the team playing around those two, when Joel Embiid starts dominating the paint so much that you have to double or triple team, now pick your poison. Who are you going to guard? Who are you going to stop? So I think that's the thing that really stood out to me from Joel Embiid last night is him getting physical in the paint. And just using his body, getting on the block. DeAndre Ayton too. I didn't even mention DeAndre Ayton, and they have a little bit of a history because when DeAndre Ayton was drafted, number 1 overall, I want to say, by the Phoenix Suns, ahead of one Luka Doncic, who was number 3 in that draft. Who was number 2 in that draft? There was another bust that was number 2 in that draft that went to the Kings. Big lefty center, power forward ish. But either way, when DeAndre Ayton was a big prospect, Joel Embiid tweeted in 2018, "Don't compare Ayton to me. He's not me," because people were comparing DeAndre Ayton. Marvin Bagley, shout out to the chat for that. People were comparing DeAndre Ayton to Joel Embiid when he was in college, and because he had a little bit of a mid-range jump shot, I guess, at his size, but really. Nothing close to Joel Embiid. And 8 years later, 5-6 years later, how long has Ayton been in the league? 5-6 years later, it's clear that DeAndre Ayton is not even close to the level of Joel Embiid. So I feel like that too. Anytime Joel Embiid plays DeAndre Ayton, he still has that little bit of like, even if it was 6 years ago, they were, he still has that little bit of like, people were really comparing this guy to me. And he has a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder and gets a little bit more physical in the paint. Whatever it is that made Joel Embiid play more physical in this game, I don't know if we got to put a DeAndre Ayton cardboard cutout in the locker room before every game or something to get him to play like this every game. But 37 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Just a great game from Joel Embiid, and he got back to his old ways, man. The getting on the block. The quick he had a play last night that was vintage Joel Embiid. He had a couple turnaround fadeaways that were vintage, but the one for me was on DeAndre Ayton, right on the block, face up, hezzy with the left hand, spin, drop step, lay in, just the finesse and footwork combined with the physicality and the size and the strength. Those type of plays are the plays that really set Joel Embiid apart from almost anybody in history, really. Like, Shaq had the size and strength. Shaq had some finesse, too, for his size, which was unbelievable, which is why he's one of the best ever. But those type of plays, to me, are the ones that really separate Joel Embiid from most centers in NBA history, where he really combines, like, the Hakeem Olajuwon skill set with the size and strength of guys like Shaquille O'Neal. And to me, one of the most skilled, dominant centers in the NBA who's ever played the game. Injuries have held him back throughout his career. But when he's healthy and he's playing like he played last night, who's stopping him? You know what I mean? And it's not just, it was the Portland Trailblazers. He can do that. He can do what he did last night to basically any center in the NBA. Steven Adams gives him a good fight when Steven Adams is healthy. There's a couple of guys that are big and strong that put up a fight against Joel in the paint, but it's not many. It is not many. I think it's absolutely crucial we keep Yabusele at all costs. The big body and shooting ability helps Joel a lot and punishes opposing defenses. Heather J, great take in the chat. And the combination of Yabusele and Joel Embiid last night, there was a couple of lineups with Gershon Yabusele and Joel Embiid together last night. And there was a run in the second quarter, I want to say, because Gershon had 17 points in the first half, and I think he had 11 in the second quarter. And it was he had 14 points in the first half. I forget, because he only finished the game with 16. But he had a career high 11 in the second quarter, and there was a couple of lineups there where him and Joel Embiid were on the floor together, and it was just getting to the point where it was like, how could you stop these two? You know what I mean? Which is so nice to see, because we've seen power forwards try to play alongside Joel Embiid before, right? We've seen guys, look like they could, Paul Reed, maybe you can play Paul Reed and Joel Embiid together. We were saying that for a couple of years, but Paul Reed can't really stretch the floor. And even when he was starting to shoot the ball a little bit under Nick Nurse, a little bit more than under Doc Rivers, and we thought like, oh, could Paul Reed really turn into a stretch four and really play alongside Joel Embiid? He couldn't, because even if he would hit a three, the defense still didn't care. You have to be not just a legitimate three-point shooter. You have to be known as a legitimate three-point shooter. You have to be enough of a three-point shooter that you're on the scouting report, so the defense is really out there playing, and for you to be stretching the floor. So Yabusele really is that guy. Yabusele is the best stretch four that Joel Embiid's ever played with. Or we could say what the hell's his name from France who went back to the Clippers? He last year, which was only half a season after the James Harden trade, who I was sad to lose. But Yabusele also. Nicholas Batum, thank you in the chat. My brain is not on today. I was up until 4:00 in the morning because I drank a Monster before the game at 10 because I'm an idiot. So there's that. So thank you for helping me out in the chat with me not being able to remember players' names. But yeah, shout out to Yabusele also, man. Tyrese Maxey last night had 23 and 3 assists. He was a plus 14. And, we're kind of going back and forth here. We're kind of, because Tyrese Maxey had a couple of games in a row here where he was the featured offensive player, or he was the player that was clearly taking advantage of the defense and was on a roll. And then Joel Embiid was kind of playing sidekick to Tyrese Maxey. So last night, Joel Embiid starts dominating the paint, right? And Tyrese Maxey's more of the sidekick. So this is really becoming a 1A and a 1B. It's not an end-all, be-all, run the game through Joel Embiid and one-dimensional. I feel like a couple of years ago where it was a clear pecking order. This is really, you have two superstar-level players, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And any given night, you can run the game, you can feature one of those two players and build the rest of the team and build the rest of the game around that. So, I thought, look, Tyrese was efficient last night, 7 for 13, 3 for 7 from the three-point line, got to the line 6 times. It's just the game game is starting to look dynamic around those two. I'm starting to feel good about, just based on matchups, based on who you're playing, how they can really run the team. Paul George, last night, 9 points, and people, he stunk up the joint, but really, he only shot the ball 9 times. He was 4 for 9, and he was in foul trouble early. The referees in this game, I mean, NBA referees are so bad. They're so bad. Paul George had 3 fouls in the first quarter and questionable calls. And it's just annoying that an official would call such touch fouls 3 times on one player in the first quarter. We're talking about marginal contact around screens and things like that. It was just Come on. So he got in foul trouble early. He didn't see the floor in the second quarter at all. And then got into some more foul trouble in the third quarter. Had 5 fouls in the third quarter. The Sixers were in the bonus with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And that's just officials being whistle happy. They were so whistle happy, it was unbelievable. It was so annoying. And even one time, they called a 3 in the key on Portland, like right after they had like 3 reviews in a row. I mean, it was just getting so annoying. I felt like the referees thought that they were the star of the show. So Paul George was in foul trouble the whole game. Didn't get a lot of shots up. Didn't get in a rhythm really offensively. But again, anchored the defense, man. And last game he had 5 steals. He only recorded 1 steal in this game, but there was still a lot of like hands on the ball in passing lanes and deflections and things like that from Paul George, just disrupting what the Portland Trailblazers were trying to do offensively. So, I'm to the point now where even I don't need Paul George to score 25. Now, if Embiid's struggling or if Embiid's out, those are the games where I'm going to get frustrated. If Embiid is out and Maxey drops 20 and is getting double teamed the whole game and Paul George is out here shooting 2 for 18, then I'm going to say, yeah, this guy's, we need you to step up a little bit. But when Joel Embiid's dominating the paint like this and Maxey's feeding off of him, you don't really need 3 guys to be scoring at an all-star level. At a game like this is where Paul George's defense is what his value is in. Again, is that a $50 million Alex Caruso? Maybe it is. But also he still draws attention on the offensive end, and swings the ball. There was a play where probably my favorite play of the game. It started in the hands of Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George drove baseline, I believe, or maybe from the left wing, kind of drew a defender, kicked it back out, and the Sixers swung it all the way around the perimeter to Tyrese Maxey in the corner. And he hits a 3, and the Sixers were up by 21 at that point. He turned around right after he made it and gave the "Who Shot You" celebration to somebody on the Blazers bench, which you guys are a horrible team. You're losing on purpose, and you're losing this specific game by 21 points. I'm not sure who on the bench is talking shit over there. But Tyrese was like, bro, you really, so, one of those like the shots up and somebody on the bench is like, that's off or something like that. And he turns around and does the celebration right in their face. But the ball movement on that play was a great sign for the Sixers. It's just they're getting chemistry. They're moving the ball. They're finding the right man. Actually, it didn't start with Paul George. Now that I think about it, that play specifically, Paul George made the last swing pass, which I liked a lot too, because Embiid caught it at the perimeter, swung it to PG. PG could have pump fake and drove or took a bad shot right there, and he swung it to Maxey in the corner. So, I will say that Paul George's his facilitating, or just the way that he plays the game so unselfishly. And a lot of times when you need him to step up, like I said, in games where Embiid's out or whatever, he's going to be too passive or he's not going to be aggressive enough. As the third option, his selflessness is actually a good thing, because he makes that swing pass right there where a lot of other players would have that mentality like, I'm going to go get a bucket right here, or they swung it to me, it's my time to shine or something. Paul George is a little bit less selfish on the offensive side to make that swing pass to Maxey in the corner. So I like that about him. You know what I mean? Somebody asked me on Twitter, who would you rather have? Right here, actually. Bias aside, would you rather have Paul George or James Harden on this current Sixers team? And my answer is actually Paul George. And, I know James Harden has been playing good this season and got himself back into shape. My opinion is because he realized, I'm not going to get another NBA contract if I keep playing the way that I played in the playoffs for the Sixers. But to me, what does this tweet say? Who would you rather have, Paul George or James Harden, on this current Sixers team? Yeah, I don't like, I prefer Paul George because he can fit in, play the team game. Like I said, swing the ball to Tyrese Maxey there at the end and just kind of go with the flow. Whereas when James Harden's on the floor, you're running the game through James Harden. I'm not a system player. I am the system. And that's where the game became really one-dimensional or two-dimensional, but just too predictable under Doc Rivers, where it was, either Harden having the ball and ISO or screen and roll or dumping it to Joel. Now, I'll take PG on his team over Harden, and that might be recency bias, but that's how I feel about that. But yeah, man, what else I got to say about this game? Kelly Oubre, 15 points off the bench. Did Kelly Oubre things, man. Had some runs where he was really just frustrating the offense and getting, his hand on deflections and stepping in passing lanes. I forgot that Kelly Oubre had 8 steals in this game. He had 8 steals. What? That is an insane number. Is that a career high for Kelly? That's got to be a career high for Kelly Oubre, 8 steals. So, the thing about Kelly Oubre, man, is like what I kind of was saying about Caleb Martin at the beginning of the season, and I was saying it about Kelly Oubre too, is that he's a role player. And he's one of those guys that the things that he does well, he needs to just be able to do those. In the beginning of the season when you don't have your guys on the floor and you're having games where you need Kelly Oubre to step up and try to score a lot of points, it's not going to look good because Kelly Oubre is not a high-level offensive player. He's really a physical utility player who uses his athleticism to his advantage, and just a really, really good role player. But there's so many times in the NBA where these kind of guys are expected to do too much, and it looks really bad. Like Kelly Oubre on the Charlotte Hornets a couple of years ago, and everybody was talking about how bad he is and how bad his efficiency is, and he almost didn't get an NBA contract the end of 2 off seasons ago before the Sixers signed him because he was on the Hornets and because his efficiency was so bad. But that's because he shouldn't be a featured offensive player. So a player like Kelly gets to step back and just play his role, and this is why you sign a guy like Kelly Oubre. 15 points and 8 steals and a plus 22. That's why you sign Kelly Oubre. And even in some of those bench lineups in kind of the margins of the game, like second, third quarter, he was getting some buckets and getting a play that I remember off the top of my head was under the rim over DeAndre Ayton, just a turnaround, like quick hook shot, things like that. So, huge game from Kelly Oubre. Huge game from Gershon Yabusele off the bench. Like I said, him and Joel Embiid together in that lineup in the second quarter was looking physically dominant. But the end-to-end poster on Denny Avdia, bro. He slammed it on Denny Avdia's head, and it brought me back to that Olympic game where he dunked on LeBron James. I love that fire from somebody like that. I love that dunk on somebody, flex, the bench goes crazy. Kyle Lowry got a technical foul for stepping on the floor. That kind of shit. Bro, I feel like the last couple of years, the Sixers have been soft for a couple of years, haven't they? Am I the only one that feels that way? Am I the only one that feels like before we signed Kelly Oubre, really, it was like a couple of years where we didn't have that physical player that would just take the ball and try to kill somebody, and then flex and scream and the bench goes crazy. That kind of like play that just ignites the energy of the team. I feel like we lacked guys like that for so long, and now you have Kelly Oubre and Gershon Yabusele, and even Ricky Council at times gets in a game and goes end to end and throws down a dunk contest looking dunk and lights up the team and the bench and the team energy and stuff. So shout out to Gershon, man. And taking a buyout and costing himself money and coming over to the NBA and taking a chance on himself and playing the way that he's playing. And he's only 28 years old, which means Gershon Yabusele is going to get paid. And if he keeps playing like this, Gershon Yabusele is going to get paid a lot of money. And, that's great for him to bet on himself and earn himself the contract that he's about to get this upcoming offseason. Sadly, I don't think the Sixers are going to be able to pay him with the Paul George, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey contracts on the books. It's the reason I've been saying that I think they're going to trade him at the deadline. But now that I see the chemistry and The way that they're playing and the way that Gershon Yabusele is fueling the energy on this team, I think I'm more on the side of keep him, go into the playoffs, try to win with him, and if he walks in the offseason, he walks in the offseason. Or maybe, I don't think they can pay him this offseason, but I think that maybe he would do us the favor of a sign and trade, something like that, in the offseason. But sadly, I don't think you're going to see Yabusele here next season because he's going to get some money. And the Sixers, can they afford more than I don't know what they can afford. Maybe you trade KJ Martin and maybe they work something out with him. But I'm thinking Yabusele's going to get upwards of $20 million a year if he keeps playing like this. But hey, the way he's playing right now, what a signing by Daryl Morey. Taking a chance on somebody just because he shined in the Olympics. I remember watching him in the Olympics too, because I was like, dude, that guy's a monster. Like, he's 6'8", 275, can shoot the ball, plays physical, can handle the ball with his left and right, has a lot of skill, is out here dunking on LeBron James in the Olympics, averaged 20 points against the USA team or scored 20 points against the USA team in the final game. I was like, that guy should probably be in the NBA. Don't you guys feel like that guy should probably be in the NBA? I remember we were talking about that for a while, and then lo and behold, the 76ers are the ones that signed him. That's a great story, man. That's a great story. Jonathan Himes, the Sixers need to trade the commentary team at the deadline. Is it just me, or is it an awful listen with... Hey, Jonathan, thank you for being a member of the channel for 45 months. By the way, every year, or every month, I think, it gives the members a free super chat when you've been a member for an entire month. And Jonathan Himes used his free super chat to trash the 76ers broadcast team. Do you know how much you have to hate that broadcast team to do that? I stream every game, so lucky for me, I have the game almost muted the whole time, which I've gotten used to doing. But I will say this. About a month, there was one game that I didn't stream. Maybe it was on a Sunday at 1 p.m. I think it was on a Sunday at 1 p.m. or something. It was during the Eagles game 2 weeks ago. And I watched the game with the volume on. And, yeah, I would rather listen to literally anything else in the world. I would rather listen to Angel Reese's podcast for 2 hours than listen to that broadcasting. It is bad. It is bad. It is bad. It is bad. And I'm not here to trash other people I'm not here to trash broadcasters or anything like that, but I from the time I started this YouTube channel, I just keep it real and I just give my opinion, and I'm sorry, Kate and Ala are probably nice people, but listen to me when I say this. It's a combination of fake fandom and just a guy that really has nothing to say, that's just filling up airtime by saying about. I mean, he really had, like, I don't know who's worse. Who's worse? The Kate Scott fake energy, just acting like she's excited about the Sixers. It doesn't sound authentic. It just doesn't. But Ala Abdenabi, you know what he is to me as a broadcaster? Well, first of all, he was obviously living off of Mark Zumoff for a couple of years. Ala is like on a Madden game, the old Madden games back in the day, and you young kids won't understand this, but before games had a lot of before consoles or games had a lot of disk space, the games were only like a gigabyte or something. There would only be like 20 recorded like voice recordings of the announcers on those old Madden games. They would say the same thing like 57 times throughout the game. That's Ala Abdenabi to me, dude. He basically rotates between 4 different things that he's going to say to fill up the airtime, and it's just, yeah. It is a brutal listen. It is. I guess I just went on a tangent trashing The Sixers broadcast team. It's not good. Dude, it might be the worst in the NBA. So I agree with you. Who else we got to talk about in this game, man? The Blazers are really bad. This Toomer Kamara guy, man, pissed me off. Go back to the G League or the gang gong Tigers or wherever you're gonna play next year, buddy, because the flopping just and the officials rewarding flopping, it's getting so tiring. And now you're rewarding flopping from guys that have no business even being here. Toomer Kamara. And you're watching the replay where somebody just sets a screen and the guy throws himself on the floor and the lady ref is like, "Boop." You know, I'm not calling out lady ref. Male referees fall for the stupid flopping also. The lady ref before, a couple games ago, the blonde one, she was just throwing technical fouls every time she saw someone on the floor. So at least they were just calling fouls. That lady was like, "Oh my God, somebody's on the floor. Technical foul. You're out of the game." What? Who let her in here? This lady ref was calling fouls on flops, but at least she wasn't ejecting players. But yeah, that guy, Toomer Kamara, bro. Come on, man. We got to get the flopping together. I said fine guys $100,000 for flops. That's how the NBA could fix it. Obviously, you can't fine a guy like Toomer Kamara $100,000. He doesn't even make. He's probably on a 10-day contract or a 2-way G League contract or something. Hey, shout out to Fudder for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. What else did I want to say about this game? Oh yeah, I got a few tweets that I want to go over, and then I'm up out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I am extremely tired because I drank a Monster before the game started last night, and then I was up until 4 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm an idiot. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, you know? But it is what it is. Not everybody can be a genius. Some of us are just dumbasses that made a YouTube channel and got lucky because people think I'm funny. Joel Embiid in his last 3 games, 37 points, 9 rebounds, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 27 and 9. Joel Embiid is back. And again, yeah, he doesn't have the athleticism that he used to have, and he never will. But he's playing more of a Tim Duncan style game. I watched him go down the lane last night, and a play where he would normally, the past couple of years or maybe his entire career, would have tried to dunk on somebody. He's planting his feet, pump faking, and laying it in. And that is a play that's, first of all, smart because you can get to the free throw line without exerting the energy of trying to dunk on the whole team. But also, you're minimizing injury by staying on the floor. And I feel like how many meetings do you think the sports scientists and just the team and everybody had with Joel Embiid over the past couple of years to try to get him to stop jumping? How many meetings do you think they had with him where they're like, you know, where his wife was like, "Joel, the fucking training staff's at the door again," and they just show up at his house, you know, like the FBI or something. They're like, "Listen, Joel, we need to talk to you, okay?" And they walk into his living room and they're like, "We need you to stop jumping because you make a lot of money, you sell a lot of tickets, and we get paid off of the ticket sale. All of us are relying on you playing basketball for a couple more years. We need you to stop jumping." And I feel like we're finally there. We're finally there. Maybe it's because he can't jump anymore, but I feel like we're finally there where Joel Embiid is playing a smarter game, a old man game, if you will, in the paint. And it's minimizing injury, and it's a good thing. And still being able to defend the rim with just his size and going straight up and down at the rim. But the chase down blocks, the trying to dunk on everybody, he's not doing that anymore. And so maybe I was wrong. Maybe Joel Embiid does have 4 years left and can play out the rest of this contract extension. We will see. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. And with Joel Embiid being a 30-point per game player again, 76ers are back, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. The Sixers are back, and it's time to get ready to get our hearts broken in the playoffs again. I thought we were maybe going to be able to walk away from this season and be like, you know what, this is done. Let's just look forward to next season in the future. They're not dragging me back into this year. Nope. Sorry to tell you guys, they have officially drug us back in, and we are here, and there's nothing we can do about it. Tyrese Maxey also, guys. First of all, Tyrese Maxey, which, first of all, Jared McCain having this record is absolutely insane, and it's so sad to me that he is not with us right now. I hope he comes. If Jared McCain can come back before the playoffs, that would be big time. Tyrese Maxey has now made at least 3 3-pointers in 9 consecutive games, a new Sixers franchise record, surpassing Jared McCain's 8-game streak from earlier this season. Jared McCain had a franchise record for consecutive games with at least 3 3-pointers made as a rookie in the first 2 months of his NBA career. That is insane. And the potential for Jared McCain in the future is incredibly bright. I hope we get him back before the playoffs start. I don't know. They haven't announced that he's out for the season, so that's a good thing. He said something on a YouTube video where he was just like laying on a hospital bed, kind of talking to a friend or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch his YouTube channel. I just saw the clip, and he was like, I can't believe I'm out for the whole year. He was like, the entire year. And so people took that as Jared McCain's out for a year, but I don't know. The Sixers haven't ruled him out yet, so I don't know. Maybe he's coming back. But Tyrese Maxey is cooking lately. That's what this stat shows you. So it's all about Tyrese feeding off of Joel Embiid, of course, taking the pressure off of him. When Joel's not out there, when at least Paul George isn't out there, and it's just Tyrese trying to lead a team full of Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin and Gershon Yabusele, teams are just double teaming him around screens and making his life difficult, and he's taking bad shots, and that's why his percentages were down so much this year. But when you have a guy like Joel Embiid out there who can take the pressure off defensively, and Paul George, Tyrese Maxey's hard to stop. And now that they've been out there for some games, 3, 4, 5 games in a row, Tyrese is really getting comfortable and really getting in his groove. And here is Tyrese Maxey over his last 13 games played, fully healthy. Remember, he did miss 7 games with a hamstring or a calf, I forget. The last 13 games, Tyrese Maxey is averaging 27, 7, and 4. Nothing about this feels unsustainable. In fact, he can be even better as he's only shooting 43, 37, and 81 over that stretch. Last season, he shot 45 from the field, 37 from 3, and 87 from the free throw line. Tyrese Maxey in the last 13 games, 27, 7, and 4. And I got news for the rest of the NBA world. Those are superstar numbers. No matter which way you want to slice it. Oh, he can't do it himself. He can't be a number one. He can't lead a team. Again, bro, like Kobe Bryant was scoring 40 points a game on those late Lakers towards the end of his career and wasn't winning any games. Michael Jordan, the early parts of his career, was getting swept by the Detroit Pistons and dropping 35 a game. You need a team around you. Yeah, of course Tyrese Maxey can't lead Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin to the playoffs. These are superstar numbers. And if you want to call him an Embiid merchant or whatever, fine with me. Fine with me. If you want to call Tyrese Maxey a number 2, fine with me. My number 2 averages 27 points a game. Sign me up. Oh no, having a great roster is terrible. Yeah. 27, 7, and 4 in the last 13 games for Tyrese Maxey. So it's all looking good at the top, right? The supporting cast, I mean, Gershon has been huge. Maybe we get KJ Martin back. Maybe the Sixers are holding him back and lying to us because they have a trade worked out. I don't know. But if Daryl Morey makes a move and gives the 76ers a point guard who's, younger than Kyle Lowry, and another maybe 3-and-D power forward type off the bench or a sharpshooter off the bench, Denny Avdia off the bench, anybody, yes or no? I'm back in, guys. I didn't think I would be here just a couple of weeks ago. So here's the current standings. The Sixers are 13-17. They are tied with the Detroit Pistons for the 10th seed in the East. They are at least right now in the play-in tournament. They are 3 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks for the 6th seed in the East and avoiding the play-in tournament. Avoiding the play-in tournament is actually possible for the Philadelphia 76ers. And not just avoiding the play-in tournament, avoiding a first-round matchup against the Cavs or the Celtics is actually possible for the 76ers. I see Atlanta probably falling out of this. If I'm going to pick a team that's going to fall out of this, Orlando and Atlanta, I think, are going to fall out of this. I think Indiana will climb back into it. Tyrese Halliburton has been terrible this season. I think maybe he turns it around a little bit. Does Chicago climb back into it? Probably not. Atlanta or Orlando is falling out of this race right here in the top 6, and the Sixers are getting a top 6 seed. Another first round matchup against the New York Knicks. Oh my God. I need it. Another first round matchup against the New York Knicks. I need it. The Sixers keep building chemistry like they are right now. And they get into the playoffs. And they play the New York Knicks in the first round. And they take out the stupid New York Knicks and all of their stupid fans. And we are cooking. That's where I'm at with it, man. That's where I'm at with it. Oh, I knocked my sign over. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. The Sixers are back. Unfortunately, we are 100% back in. There's nothing we can do about it. Shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to the Super Chats. Thank you guys for coming through and hanging out once again. Thank you guys for always coming through the live streams. Once again, the Maxey McCain 25 t-shirts and the original Sickos logo are going away on the website in the next couple of days. So go over to runitbackphillyshop.com and get you some of the merch. Promo code Sickos20. Shout out to the sponsors, DraftKings Sportsbook and Game Time Ticket app. If you're new to sports betting or if you're new to DraftKings, go over to DraftKings and use promo code RunItBack for all of the bonus bets. And Game Time Ticket app, use promo code CLNS for $20 off. I think I need to go back to sleep. Again, I don't know if you missed it. I was up until 4 a.m. because I drank a Monster. Hey, here it is. It's still here. I drank a Monster at 10 o'clock at night before the game last night because I'm an idiot. And then I was wide awake until 4 a.m. So don't do that. Word of advice, don't do that. Happy New Year to you all also. Happy New Year. Be safe tonight. I will not be partaking in any celebrations because I'm at the point in my life where I don't care about parties or celebrations or large groups or anything like that, or drinking until I'm insanely hungover for 3 days. But if you are partying tonight, be safe. Do not drink and drive on New Year's Eve. You can't be that stupid. People that get DUIs on New Year's Eve, bro, come on. There's checkpoints all over the place. Why would you ever drink alcohol and get in a moving motor vehicle on New Year's Eve? Don't do that. Uber, walk home, take a bus. I don't know. Be safe. You guys are the best, and I'll see you soon. Peace.